pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chapman?
Here.
Hard? Here. Wallace?
Here.
Patton?
Here.
Tyler?
Here.
Zona? Eckert?
Here. We have approval of the agenda, September 13th, 2017, which is today.
So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a support?
Support.
Moved and supported to accept the agenda presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Need a motion to approve the minutes of our August 9th, 2017 meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing from August 9th.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Been moved and supported to accept the minutes for the public hearing on August 9th. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Police report.
You're on.
No public comment. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the report. Pretty typical month, busy, of course. We assisted a couple other departments, one being Elk Rapids during Harbor Days, and then Bel Air Police Department during Rubber Ducky Festival. So that's kind of the trade-off when they come up and help us on 4th of July. So pretty typical, we do that. Chiefs meeting, and like I said, just busy, so. Any questions?
Questions for Scott?
Great, thank you.
That was quick for you, man.
Sam?
See if we can beat that.
Everybody should have a copy of my DPW report. You'll see I had quite a few items on there. But the biggest thing I got to say is 114 water samples have been taken so far this year. We took 40 lead and coppers. None of them failed the MCLs. So we're good again, and I'm gonna try to talk to DEQ into letting us go every 2 years. We'll see how that goes, because it's such an expense to take and send 40 quarts of water, 40 liters of water in UPS. And now the DEQ has come up with what they call a thermal protection on their water samples. If the water sample drops below a certain degree, they're not going to take the samples. And you'll see where it says TTHMs. They're $120 a piece, and we have to do 2 of them. And if they fail that thermal protection, which means the temperature dropped too low when we send them out UPS, then we have to retake them again. And of course, I want you to know I had 2 of them fail. And wouldn't you know, they tested the 2 and sent the report that said they failed thermal protection. What that means is we paid $240 to have them samples taken to have them run, and we had to redo them.
What is the low temperature for the
42.5.
centigrade?
They can't be above 42.5 in transportation. Keep in mind, they come out of the ground or out of your faucet at roughly 56 degrees this time of the year, and they come out of the ground at 50 degrees this time of the year. But I can't let it drop below, it's got to be below the 42.5 degrees. It's foolish. So now what we're doing is we're freezing water bottles in the freezer, and we're sending ice, UPS, and of course you pay by weight. So we're sending ice bottles with their ice packs, with their coolers.
Where do they go?
Pardon?
Where are they sent?
They're sent to Lansing. I do foresee a point where we're gonna end up running them down there. I see it coming. Just so we can get the chain of custody, the sign, and they can say, yep, 41.7 degrees, so we're not above it. I can see it happening real quick. And truthfully, by the time you pay $240, and have a bad sample, you know, because it didn't make the temperature, we're farther ahead to send a guy down and let him run them down, bring, come back up that day, and I think we're farther ahead when it's all said and done. That will be next year because we have all them samples done.
Where does it go to?
Lansing. Martin Luther, I'm not sure where, the DEQ laboratory. They're the only ones around here that do it to the best of my knowledge. Charlevoix Water Sample does all of our Bacti samples. And of course, they got on the bandwagon and said, your water sample's gotta be in a cooler with ice, or we won't test it. So, that's what that is.
But we transport them up there.
Yes, yes, we throw them right in a little cooler with a ice pack and she accepts it and she runs them. You noticed, I wanted to bring up that we picked 3 deer up in the last month. Deer are starting to move, so everybody please drive careful so you don't hit a deer. You don't think about it in this little town, but we usually end up picking up about 10 deer within the village limits.
Really?
Starting about this time of the year, all the way through November.
Oh my.
So, and generally out by Brian Patton's is one of the hottest spots. There's usually quite a few deer laying on that Rushton Road.
For bikers.
Well, if we quit feeding them.
Number 14, you'll see that one, that's supposed to say cleaned out culvert at Ballard Street, which is the culvert that headed down towards Walt Russell's, beside Bill Chapman's house. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Campground, Rob?
Okay, last month we had 128 reservations checked in, we had 267 guests. Of those, 55 of them were kids again, so we're getting a lot of kids down there. Since then, things have slowed up. Time of the year, allowing me to catch up on some of the grass cutting down there. Today I repaired some of the picnic tables. Over the summer, the kids have taken nuts off of them and just shoving them around and everything. The bolts break or pop off, and so I repaired 6 or 7 of those today. Tomorrow I'll be cleaning some fire pits. We got a fair group coming in this weekend, so. Other than that, you guys got any questions?
It's been a pretty good year down there, I think.
It's been a good year. It's been busy, but it's been enjoyable.
No problems?
I wouldn't say that, but the problems have been minimal.
Compared
And
to
we're
what
always gonna have problems, but I mean, the type of problems haven't been there this year.
Compared to what we've had.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything for Lyle? Thank you. 2 pieces of correspondence. Antrim County is seeking interest notification forms for the following appointed positions. Department of Health and Human Services / Meadowbrook Governing Board. Individuals must be an Antrim County resident and a registered voter in Antrim County. Interested residents should contact the administration office to request the interest notification form or download it from the Antrim County website. Completed forms must be received by September 25th. And anybody interested? Contact the county. We received a letter from a resident, said I would like to address the water main reconstruction and road paving. It was at the very least not an easy project for the village, but was completed and things look great. One evening we received a torrential downfall of rain, which in turn flooded my driveway and parts of my yard. Following that, I brought to the attention of the village administrator, who in turn brought it to Sam's attention. He met with me at my convenience to discuss the situation and my concerns. And he immediately had his crew on it, and the problem was solved. I felt the need to bring this to your attention because I wanted you to know that Sam conducted himself in a very professional way and did everything that he could do to address the issue as quickly as possible. I am very grateful. Thank you, Sam, for doing a great job and taking care of the village. Your efforts are Very much appreciated.
Thanks.
Sherry Setkowski, who is formerly Sherry Mosier, who is Rachel's mother. Just to make it clear. For the record.
I talked to her about a week ago at her place of work, and she thanked me also for the response that they made, and she said they addressed her concerns, and she was very thankful, so, thank you.
That's all I have, correspondence. Committee reports, Lyle, streets.
I don't have anything. Everything's going good as far as I can see up there, and Sam's been calling me, so that's a good thing.
On that though, for the lights, last meeting when Tim Petruski came in, I badgered him about LED lighting. He did get back to me on this. Our street lighting experts quickly reviewed the village lighting inventory and estimated that based on current costs, converting LED to LED lighting would have a payback period of approximately 14 years. So, there you go, Ralph. I don't know if you want to pursue that or not.
Might be something interesting to check into.
We'll move on. Sewer and water, Leila?
Actually, Sam has done such a wonderful job each year. I don't think he can improve anything. He's done a wonderful job on this stuff, so I have nothing to report.
Okay. Bill, law enforcement?
The only thing I got is we have a non-compliant ordinance complaints. We got a citation authorized by the village attorney, in which there will be a formal hearing on that, and there's not a date and time yet for that. There'll be one on one complaint. That's all I have.
Finance and personnel, Brad?
I'd just like to thank the people that came down and talked to the auditor today. I've been on vacation, so I was a little busy at work today, but thanks everybody for coming down. That's all I got.
Rob?
Let's see, our revenue for August, last year we had $32,710 last month, or last year, August. This year, August, $34,520, so we have a 5.5% increase. Average overall for May, June, July, August, we're averaging at 5.58% increase over last year overall. So thank you, Lyle. I'm sure it has something to do with you. Tree grant that Larry gave to me, Rachel and I worked on that. I'd like to thank Rachel for getting after that such short notice. We will know if they're gonna pay for our trees in the next 4 weeks because it had to be due by September 1st. We asked for a total of, let's see, 6 total trees, 3 in the campground, 2 in the playground, and 1 on the north docks right across from Bedell Crossings where the one tree since died. So we'll find out on that one. And again, you're probably going to talk about this in the action items, but we have to buy the trees first and then they reimburse us. So it's still the reimbursing catch-22. That's that.
Are the trees already here?
No, we have to wait to see if we get the grant.
Oh,
And then once we get the grant, then we can pursue purchasing the trees. And we'll know end of September. That we get the money, I should say. Let me rephrase that. The North Street Trail is done. There's a couple wet spots. Dean Crandall's gonna come back and put some gravel on top of that. AmeriCorps workers spent 3 days, 12 of them with the guidance of Steve Lauderquist from the Grand Traverse Land Conservancy. They did a great job. It's pretty incredible to watch 21-year-olds swing those hand tools all day long like that. We had our community volunteer Wednesday night work bees. There was a ton of people that showed up. Let me just list them off to give them credit and my appreciation. Corbin Newton, Darren Dawson, Robin and Sophia Summers, Rob Schutz, Michelle Schutz, Joe Bodley, Sarah Bruce, Kathy Patton, Brian did show up, but you did not do anything.
I just showed up.
You did show up, but you did not, you showed up, you
I
are
showed
right.
up to eat.
Yeah, you had cookies, you definitely had cookies. Scott was there, thank you, Scott. Maggie, my wife. So, can't thank all you people enough. We do have a Facebook page now, North Street Nature Preserve. The community's kind of taken over this. They want to do a winter snowshoe hike on the first full moon in January. So there's some, a lot of things, there's a lot of synergy going on, and that's kind of fun. Special thanks to Gary Johnson. He made 2 6-foot benches made out of treated lumber for the scenic overlooks. They look great. Ron at Alden Lumber that supplied a lot of the rebar to anchor those benches so they don't end up falling over the side. Sam back there, he was just incredible to work with. I can't thank him enough. He was always there to help me or say, no, that's not going to work. And he also had brought out a side-by-side four-wheeler to get the benches into place. It's just a pleasure to work with Sam because he's always there, and it's always, we can do that. We'll figure it out. He never ever says, I don't know. Again, Rachel, keeping me under budget, ordering everything because, as you know, I'd like to order everything. And Larry for having the faith in me to letting me just run with the project and not really being too concerned about things. Again, thank you all. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of fun, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from the community. Let's see. This weekend we are going to try some all-weather cameras down at the pavilion. Ken Graham from the Pelican's Nest is going to bring his down to see if it's actually feasible to put wireless cameras if they can reach the router inside the bathroom. So we're going to be playing around with that, with his, to see if it's actually a go or not. Let's see. That's all I've got.
I'd like to thank you too, Rob, for
Oh, you're welcome.
being a board member. I appreciate what you do. It makes us look good.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for making me look good.
Get that carried away.
My report's a little loose tonight. I attended a meeting in Charlevoix regarding the Medical Marijuana Act, as well as expected changes down the road. It was sponsored by some group in Charlevoix, but the representative was from the Prosecutors of Michigan Association, an attorney, and he was just filling everybody in on where things are headed. There's a group out in the state right now collecting signatures for a vote to occur sometime in 2018. They need about 50. They have over 200,000 signatures. They have about 50,000 more to get before January 1, and they'll put it on. They'll go to vote for recreational use of marijuana in the state. He said Michigan's path is the same path that Colorado has taken, and we're just a matter of, by the looks of it, we're just a matter of years, months, whatever behind whatever happened out there. So, as far as our involvement of allowing dispensaries or not, if we do nothing, then we are saying that they are not allowed here. We have an ordinance on file right now that essentially complies with the current Medical Marijuana Act and the providers and the patients and their rights. And we don't have to change anything if we don't want to expand the opportunity for that. So it's my recommendation at this point in time is just to let things sit and see what happens. We'll know more. more as the year progresses, I'm sure. So, The Chamber of Commerce has a new president, Sherry Fuss. She is the postmaster in town. She met with me, and I went to their chamber meeting last night. The paddle antrim is their function, which begins this weekend. They are going to put a sign on the north end of the bridge, north side of the bridge, so as paddlers come through the bridge, it'll say, "Welcome paddlers to Central Lake," or something to that effect. But no issues with putting it on the bridge as long as they take it down. So. We met with the auditor today, Rob and I, Sam, Rachel, and we'll talk about a little bit more of this under action items. We have a deficit in the campground fund, primarily because we spent monies towards the grant last year and didn't budget for it. So we have to do an amendment tonight to recoup our losses from that overspending our budget in 2017. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. So, and then we received a form from Lewis today. Did Rachel show you that? That hasn't been done?
I've done one already.
You filled one?
Maybe we have to do it again. It might have to be done quarterly.
Okay.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah, no problem. But that's, we're close to wrapping up the CDBG grant with the water main and streets and things. So there's a couple opportunities that Jennifer sent to me here last week, I think sometime, that we could pursue some more grants to finish our water mains. And what else was there?
Sewer.
Water and sewer? Okay. So that's something we might want to consider, because we still have about 600 feet of water main that needs to be replaced. Other than that, I don't think, sewer-wise, I think we're pretty good at this point in time. There's long-term wise, I think we might have to, water and sewer and committee might want to discuss if we want to expand our drain fields or seek the avenue of building, constructing a water treatment plant. That is $1.5 million to $2 million expense if we go that route. We can issue bonds to pay for that. We do not have any debt up to this point except our last electrical payment of $6,000 and something that will occur this coming fall, late fall, early winter. So we will be debt-free after this next year's round of grants and activities. So it's my personal opinion, having looked at options, that if we want Central Lake to grow, the water treatment plant is almost imperative. To continue the way we are and accept what little growth that we get each year, we can build our drain fields. We still have space up there for new fields, and we can continue with the same system we have for the next 20, 25 years. So those are the issues involved with that. And I think that's all that I have at this point in time.
So if we got the new drain field, would we hook more people up? Is that how it would work, or is it just the existing field that needs to be refurbished?
Yes.
Okay, so,
We can build more drain fields, and we can refurbish old drain fields.
okay,
We will still hook people up that come in. We seem to be able to accommodate them. Thanks to Sam and the boys, for the last 30 years, those fields have lasted, which generally a 20-year life is what is expected of them.
so we gotta start getting after this now, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that we ought to be talking about it.
Okay.
So, the system's still working.
Well, and if I,
Yep.
the grant that it's not through USDA, it's through Michigan Rural Water. but it's intended to be, there's $1.5 million that they make available to communities every year.
What's the match?
It's a 30% match. And actually Ellsworth just took advantage of it last year for a local presence for you guys, but it's intended to help communities with planning. I mean, even like Mammoth Distillery can take advantage of it. It's intended for agriculture expansion, tourism areas that have to improve, their sewer system, their water system, their process treatment plants, anything like that, that supports Michigan's industries. So, your wastewater facility would be a prime example. But what I was thinking is to pursue it potentially, because you could conduct a feasibility study then, is what you could use that money for, to look at options, keeping the same type of facility you have, or going with a different facility. And the nice thing, when you have a feasibility study like that, it's called a preliminary engineering report, you can use that to pursue loans through USDA, or, bonding. So you have a report, different options, different costs, so that you can make an educated decision. So that's why I was thinking for the grant. So it wouldn't be a huge grant or request, but it would help give you guys some options and to educate you to make the best decision for Central Lake.
So we'd have to come up with a 30% match, that'd be 450,000?
No, the total.
No, the total they make available every year to and it's only certain counties. They select and Antrim falls into that. That's for anyone that falls within those counties. There's 1.5 million available to everyone.
Available to
So you may
everyone.
only ask for 50. Just to throw a number out for a feasibility study, they cost anywhere from 25 to 50. So you'd be looking at 30% of that amount.
Can you ballpark what a new or upgraded sewage facility would cost for the size of the Central Lake?
Like your drain field or a wastewater plant?
What do you, I mean, then, I
He's
guess
talking
we're not comparing
He's
apples
talking
to oranges.
We were talking wastewater plants, and yeah,
Okay,
Larry had thrown numbers out, yeah.
1.4 for about 50,000 gallons a day,
Mhm.
and 1.9 for 92,000 gallons a day.
all right,
50 would accommodate what we have currently.
all right.
And that would be for like a mechanical plant, as opposed to other options are lagoon facilities, but you need
Mhm.
land and, there's odor considerations and, there's lots. And that's why feasibility comes into place, because there's different types of wastewater plants too, aside from what you guys kind of have right now is basically an effluent with a drain field.
Mhm.
Because if you went with a wastewater plant, it would require some modifications to your existing residential, your connections too, that people have. Because a lot of your stuff, your piping is low pressure that you have in the area too, and the sizing, and so there's a lot of things. That's why a feasibility study would be a good idea for you guys.
And we wouldn't need a feasibility study for the water main, because we know what's been put in and what's left, so.
All right.
But we could pursue a CDBG grant again, though we have one coming through Rising Tide, I hope. It has not been approved, but it is out there, so.
Well, the hope is the CDBG grants that you had for the water main, they've made themselves available for the last 2 years. You weren't eligible to apply last year because you were a recipient of the previous year, but if they offer it again this next year, that would now be eligible to apply again. And so, which was a 10% match, which is phenomenal.
These matches are killing us.
10% really.
Just tell the auditor today. I know all about
No, I
that
know,
stuff.
but that's phenomenal, I mean, sorry, thank you.
No, that's good, thank you. I think that, when's the deadline for
It's not till February, I just wanted to poise and throw it out there, and I'll keep watching and let you know as stuff comes available.
it'll be on the agenda for next meeting. Anything else for me?
You're talking about raising, the village raising how much money towards the possible.
I'm sorry.
When you're talking about this plant, I think, do you have approximately an idea of how much we're going to raise on our own, something like this, if we get it?
For the grant for a feasibility study, or if we decide to go for a water treatment
Water
plant,
treatment. Mhm.
how much we would have to raise, we probably have to raise 1.9 million.
All of
So,
it. Unless grants become available, you know, like the
Yeah.
water main grant becomes available, that's,
But that beside, that would be our share, or just the whole thing?
That would be us doing it, yeah.
Okay, I just like to know.
But, and when we would do something like that, we would have to issue bonds and go through that whole process. And we have, in order to do that, you hire an underwriter, and a representative, usually a bond attorney, and they take us through the process. And then those bonds are sold to investors, whether they be institutional or private individuals. And they're like any other investment, they're buying it at such an interest rate, and then we pay that over 20, 30, 40 years, whatever is decided to do that. So,
Okay,
I throw it out there because at some point in time, we're gonna have to make a decision regarding our wastewater. One way or the other, whether we just continue on doing what we're doing.
right, you can just,
Yeah.
construct a new drain field, I mean, you've got reserve area, and we can very easily do that too.
Well, provided you get permits for that system.
Yeah, right.
Because that's an obsolete system now.
And if we went the wastewater treatment plant route, it would probably require us another full-time person in the DPW to manage that.
it's just nice to know.
Well, and that's all part of, when you do a feasibility study, you have pros and cons, and, you know, all life cycle costs, all those different things with all different options made available, so you guys can decide which one's gonna be the best for you.
It's not just the initial water plant, it's everything that goes with it.
There's a lot, right,
Yes.
there's a lot of costs, right?
Anything else? Move on to paid bills, prepaids of $294,275.54. Payroll of $6,401.53, payables $24,424.38. Total of $325,101.45. Need a motion to approve the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Lovelace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Becker?
Yes. No new business, action items. Okay, approve the deficit elimination plan for the campground fund. That is the document that you have. And this was suggested by the auditor. We have a debt in the campground fund for the 2016-17 fiscal year, last year. Primarily because we spent more money than what we had coming in because of the grant that we had. So the 13,000 negative fund balance, we are proposing to pass this in order to pay that off by the fiscal year 2019. There is no punishment if we pay it off early, if our numbers come in different. The auditor thought this was a good way to tell the state that this is what we plan to do to remove our deficit. And if we pay it off early, more power to us. And I suggest that we move forward with this, and it'll bring our last year's budget in line, and we can proceed. So, any questions?
With that, you had asked me earlier today what our revenue was, because I thought 70 was conservative.
Yep.
We're looking at a proposed income for this year at the campground for 2017 of $77,282. So we're well within, we're very conservative at 70,740. Then if you look at the second column, 2019, it's 70,000 again. We're in, we went back through for 2014, we were at $57,702. 2015, our revenue was $67,490. 2016, $72,075. And so this year we're at 77. So we're at about a 5% growth rate. And if you consider that for 2019, at 77, we'd be more like at 82. just to give you a real number, a projected number. I mean, it could rain off next summer for 2019 and we could be
Right.
back down. So those are the numbers for the campground, just to give you the hard numbers here, not what the auditor came up with.
Need a motion for the deficit elimination plan?
I'll make the motion to approve the Village of Central Lake deficit elimination plan for the campground fund.
Support.
Been moved and supported, any further discussion? Since we're not spending, well, we are spending, but we're not, so just voice vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. It will all work out. Rachel got me panicked a couple weeks ago, said we were short $135,000.
She told me the same thing.
And after meeting with the auditor today, we're not short $135,000. But our cash flow is down considerably because our water main grant, we've spent 500 and some thousand, and we've only got 70,000 of that back so far. So we, Jennifer has made a plea to the state to pay us so we don't start bouncing checks. And, but once that money comes in, we'll be pretty well flush again, except for the campground fund, and now we have a plan to cover that. So, and we're not that.
And he said, I talked to Lewis, and he did last week release 2 more pre-applications. So it's just, I don't know how long it takes to direct deposit, but.
Okay, action item B, Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act. That was the seminar I went to last week, and my recommendation is we just sit and not do anything, so nobody can move in on us. If we don't have anything there, and I'm sure that as time progresses that we will receive more information and all of that, so. Nothing really to do there. We have 2 invoices from Gordy Frazier's, total of $11,051.50. Motion to pay Jennifer so she can eat.
Apparently not.
I've got a motion from Chapman to pay the bill.
I'll support it.
Then supported by Patton. And a roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Change order for Tri-County Excavating.
What is that? What's that for?
So I can eat.
No, the approval, the change order.
I can expand if you want.
Sure.
Basically what we do is, well, as everybody knows, we added Lincoln Street to the scope of the project once we saw how the bid prices had originally came in. So we are now at a point where everything's complete. We've done a walkthrough, and Tri-County is currently working on just, minimal restoration. And so what this is called a balancing change order. So it basically takes all the total quantities they've installed and reflects, we add them all in, and so everything balances out and shows at the end of 0. So originally, I may have estimated 4,000 feet of pipe put in, actually 5,200, or, whatever the number may be, so that we show everything's all balanced out, because we added Lincoln Street in, we added a lot of components in. So it's just a finalization of numbers, just to show that he isn't over, under completed anything, if that makes sense. It's a paperwork issue, but basically it reflects all the current accurate amounts and quantities of everything he installed. So, and that just allows us just to balance everything out, so it reflects he's 100% complete with
Was you
everything.
happy with their work?
Yeah, we had a couple outstanding things, I think,
We gonna bring that up? We gonna bring it up?
do you want to?
Yeah, now's the perfect time for us to bring it up. We've got 2 outstanding complaints to date right now on the water main project. Are we talking the same thing?
Well, he was asking about, satisfaction with Tri County.
And, yeah, I'm very satisfied with him. I know Jennifer is, we've talked.
You know, a couple things, I mean, you know, Sam and I, looked some of the grading, their restoration, kinda had to keep on them about, but, you know, Reeve came in at the end, and, you know, I even drove it, and I don't, what does everybody else think? I mean, you guys
It
tell
looks
me,
fine.
you know.
I don't see
I
any
think it looks good.
I'm very
Streets.
pleased with it, the restoration, the grass is growing.
Grass is coming up.
We are holding up, and just, this is not a final pay application to them, because we go through a closeout process where we get maintenance bonds and, you know, all the protective measures, the 1-year warranty for you guys, so we're still holding out 10% on him yet, and you'll see that in the pay application, so we are still holding out about, I think it's like $50,000. So please keep that in mind, this is not a final, this is just balancing out the total quantities. But yeah, as far as Tri-County is concerned, I'm happy. Now, the driveway with,
That's what I want.
is that still outstanding?
Nobody,
I-
we've got 2 complaints. One of them is, Rocket Rob on his blacktop. He's got what Jennifer referred to as a bird bath in the blacktop. And I texted Mike Elwinger again this morning and said, Mike, when you gonna come fix this? Because I wanna get this thing closed out, and they're doing a driveway in Eastport in 2 weeks, and then, his paver will be up. We're still not sure if we're gonna cut his driveway out, repave the whole thing in between the 2 spots where we originally cut it, or if we're just gonna try to bring a heater in, heat the blacktop up, put more blacktop in, fill the hole in. We're not sure which way we're gonna go on that yet.
And that's why we hold out contingency, because there is an outstanding punch list item
Right.
that Tri-County has to complete, and that is one of them, along with the other driveway that.
And then we got one lady's driveway that she's dead set, she had a blacktop driveway when we started this project. I know Lyle has a picture, and it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what Jennifer says.
And I did CC some of you on that
Mm-hmm.
response to her, and prior to that same day, she probably called me 3-4 times. Very, very emotional, very upset, and I told her, you know, the process it goes through, and I do an independent review side by side, and, you know, I offered to her, she is more than welcome to come speak at public comment if she has, because it's ultimately your decision, whether, you know, the level of restoration. I offered that to her. I let her send me pictures, her own pictures. You know, and I did a review, and I think Larry, Rachel, and perhaps Rob did. And I didn't print it off, I'm sorry, but
The pictures I saw, the gravel driveway that Tri-County put back in is better looking than the asphalt driveway that she had before.
it
It was
is.
an asphalt driveway that was probably put in the 50s. It was probably 1.5 inches thick, and over the last 50 years, nothing.
It turned back to gravel.
Yeah.
And the best I came up with that I could offer was to have Tri-County come in, rake out some of the larger chunks, and put some additional millings and pack it in.
And the biggest percentage of her driveway is not hers.
Right.
It's a village alley.
Well, the thing is I actually included Heidi with Antrim County for soil erosion, because what Tri-County has done today has actually made it better, because it was becoming a washout area in the alley. So they have improved it. And so I offered that to her for some type of compensation a little bit, because there is excess millings we still have. I've discussed it with Phil, it's on the punch list item, and sent her that same email. She has not been in touch with me since. And she has my cell phone, every level of correspondence. So as far as I'm concerned, we've resolved the complaints.
Right.
And I even offered to her to come here to the council meeting. So have you?
She just asked me when we're gonna blacktop her driveway. And I told her reality was, it's not gonna happen. You've got it better than what you had it before we started the water project as of right now, my opinion. And I took pictures and I showed Lyle the befores and afters. And I think I even showed Rob Tyler.
I saw the before and afters, and
But she's not gonna be happy. So that's why I want the board to make a decision on what they wanna do on that driveway.
There was no driveway there to start with.
And what she also fails to tell you is, I put 20 yards of stabilizer from the blacktop road up into her driveway that was all sand to start with. Above and beyond, we paid for that out of our own pocket. Because I said, no, I understand, I'm gonna try to give you a good driveway all the way up, a hard one.
Right.
And she's not happy with that either, so.
we will. I went by that driveway, and it's fine. It's usable,
It's better
it's
than what.
very functional, and there's nothing wrong with that. The before and after pictures, tell the story, and that's the bottom line.
No, I'll go right back to what I did for Rachel's mother. I didn't do it for Rachel's mother because it was her mother. Her driveway looked horrible. The water run through her yard, we had to fix it. This lady, she got a better driveway than what she had before.
All right.
Okay, we've got a change order here that we have to approve. Do we have a motion and support? Okay, we don't.
I make a motion.
I'll support.
A motion and support by Patton. And all in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed? Motion's carried.
Can I
Yeah.
expand
you can.
upon, and I know you guys had a copy of the construction report, in your packet, I hope, you should. To coincide with that change order, I also included, so everybody could see a final budget of where we're gonna end up being at. And I know this, as we were talking about budgets with, you know, the park, for instance, as far as the water main concerned, ultimately, including this change order that you approved, and along with, all the work that Corey Fraser had done and was able to do, and Tri-County, ultimately, the initial grant amount, and you can see in the funds, was $633,000, and then, your water fund match was $88,500, and then you also had Act 51 money, which was another $23,000, and I'm rounding up, and you had elected to contribute some additional funds from your streets, because we added Lincoln. But just going with the pure grant amount and your original matches, we still have we still have $11,000 left that was not spent. So I just wanted you guys to be aware, it was a very, very successful project.
Plus the 10% you hold.
Right, well, no, that's in the final numbers,
Oh,
the
okay.
10%, that's gonna ultimately be the total amount that Tri-County has paid, but we didn't have to end up contributing any extra money than your original match amounts from your original grant application, and we were able to add Lincoln, so I just want you guys, that's a big success for all of us, so
Yes.
that still leaves 11,000 left, there, so I think that's a great thing.
Thank you for all your work.
Well, no, it's a pleasure, I mean, that was a group effort, so.
So this, 55,857 will be the final payment to them?
Yes, yep, next time.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, they're weird.
Can I get a copy of that, Rachel?
What's that?
Can I get a copy of that tomorrow?
Okay, so the pay application to Tri-County for 226,887.70. That is their last payment except for the
10% contingency.
10%.
So that includes the change order that you just approved, which really the change order was just adding Lincoln Street in, is really ultimately what most of those items were.
The motion to pay the contractor $226,887.70.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Do we have money to pay?
Did you get some reimbursement?
Yeah, wait, you should be getting it this week.
Anyway, so it's deposited.
Have a motion and a support.
Chapman? Clark?
Yes.
Loveless?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Eckert?
Any old business? Any public comment?
Yes. I would like to thank Gary Johnson an additional time. As Rob Tyler stated, he did it on his own time in the morning before school. And when I asked him if he would build them benches, he was so willing. So I just want to put another one out there for Gary Johnson. Thank you very much.
What benches?
We put two womanized benches on the walking trail.
Right there?
And Gary built beautiful
He
benches.
measured my chairs to see what the
The
angle
degree?
was. Yeah, how you sit.
And he built them on his own before school, so oh,
Gary
beautiful.
Johnson is a wonderful person to do things like that. He is more than willing to do anything for anybody that needs it. Oh, those are nice. good work.
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
So moved.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
All right.
Thank you all for coming.
That is awesome. Oh, and I forgot to, as you guys are, these are, we didn't mention it, but I know it's already on your Facebook.